Hi there, Assel. So it's great to see that you've submitted your last set of essays for us. Let's take a look at what you did. This one is about green energy, and you need to discuss both views and give your opinion. So let's see what you did. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether the renewable energy, okay, get rid of this "the" here because renewable energy is uncountable. So, whether renewable energy might decrease expenses and save natural resources, or advocate that this is an unreliable source of energy. Or I paused for a minute. I want to read it again. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether renewable energy might decrease expenditure or that's what it is. This is a little strange here. So get rid of advocate that because you said that they have debated whether, and so it kind of goes together that it should be or if this is an unreliable source of energy. That would be in a more appropriate way of linking those two ideas, okay? So because you have whether, it should be or if. That's the best way of doing it. Let's move on. This essay will examine both views. Personally, I strongly support the idea of preserving fossil fuel, as this is a non-renewable source of energy, and measures have, not has, have to be taken to prevent depletion of natural resources. Okay, I paused again because I was a little confused about a couple of things. So first of all, this essay will examine both views. Now here, I really think you need to put a yet or a but, because there is a little bit of a contrast here. You're like, so it's okay, you're saying this. You're saying, I'm going to talk about both sides. But personally, if you ask me, I think this. Okay, so I do believe that you need that word here for contrast. Okay, a linker that shows contrast, but yet, however. And then I didn't understand this. What does this mean? I strongly support the idea of preserving fossil fuel. So what does that mean? I mean, we're talking about green energy, and if it reduces costs and is better for the environment, or if it hinders energy security. So now that should be your focus. Green energy should be your focus, not fossil fuels. So I don't understand why you mention that you strongly support the idea of preserving fossil fuel. I don't understand that. You of course will talk about fossil fuels in this essay, but always in some sort of reference to green energy. The focus of your essay should not be on fossil fuel. And I didn't really understand what this meant. I support the idea of preserving fossil fuel. So I didn't really understand that at all. All right. Anyway, maybe it'll become clearer to me as I read the body paragraph. So let's see what you did. On the one hand, there is ample evidence to support the idea of green energy. In the industrial era, the consumption of electricity and other resources has risen significantly. Therefore, humanity is confronting an enormous energy challenge, singular. Firstly, it is clearly seen that overwhelming reliance on fossil fuel might drastically alter the Earth's climate and negatively impact, no S, humanity. So negatively impact humanity as a whole. Thus, it is vital to build a new type of energy to mitigate the growing effect of scarce resources and climate change. E, not ing. This might be attained through large-scale international cooperation. For example, the European Union has defined an ambitious goal of acquiring 20% of its energy needs from renewable sources by 2025. Operating in a different way might incur significant economic losses as well as detrimental impact on the climate. Okay, well, you mentioned the things you were supposed to mention at the very end of the paragraph, but the rest of it, I didn't really think that you developed appropriately. So, okay, this was good. You had a very clear topic sentence, so I was happy about that. But then you had all of this. Here we go. So, all of this talking about fossil fuels. okay, which I didn't think was such a great idea. And then you said, so, yes, since we have this problem with fossil fuels, let's try green energy. But this is what I was saying in your introduction as well. It's supposed to be you're talking about green energy, and then you might make a comparison with fossil fuel. But in this paragraph, I really felt like you were talking about fossil fuel and then just made a reference to green energy. So it should have been the other way around. Your focus should have been on green energy. So how could you have done that? Basically, right after here where you said, therefore, humanity is confronting an enormous energy challenge, you could have said that green energy has proven to have very beneficial effects on the environment. And then you could have said that a study from XYZ University showed that using green energy reduces greenhouse gas emissions by 80%. Okay? Then you could have said that green energy is also responsible for lowering energy costs, both to private citizens and to industries. And then you could say that, some other research shows that people's electricity bills are 40% lower thanks to green energy usage. Okay, so that's the way you needed to be developing this paragraph. Okay, let's go on to your next. On the other hand, although there is a case case for preserving and resources, the maintenance cost, comma here, the maintenance costs of renewable energy cannot be overstated, specifically the capital cost and upfront expenses of installment of solar and wind farms. Okay. Now, again, I don't understand this. Preserving resources. I don't understand that. What are we talking about here? What resources are we preserving? So this is, again, creates some confusion, at least in my mind. Okay. Even though the solar and wind, no, even though solar and wind farms, again, maybe, I don't know, but you can't just say the solar, because solar is an adjective. So it needs to be followed by some sort of a noun. Okay, and wind can be both an adjective and a noun, but solar cannot. So you need to have something. Let's try it again. Even though solar and wind energy, perhaps, are extremely inexpensive to operate, their fuel is free. The majority of expenses come from building farms and purchasing technologies. Okay, yeah, you can't say of. It would have to be the purchase of technologies, okay? But since you wrote purchasing, it has to be just purchasing technologies. Done. Furthermore, the initial high investments for installation, not installment, installation of solar and wind farms would make financial institutions perceive, get rid of this too, renewables as highly risky. And lend money at higher rates. This would make it harder to justify investments on renewables. Okay. Fine. Although, energy security is not just the cost of it, it's also how reliable this energy is. So you really focused on the financial aspect of energy security and not at all the availability of this energy. And so that, I think, is an important piece to deal with and that you should have mentioned in this paragraph as well. In conclusion, it is highly important to begin using renewable energy without this A, despite the high costs, as scarcity of fossil fuel might continue to increase in future and will lead to a detrimental impact on quality of life of future generations. Okay, that's fine. So I think you should have a good idea at this point about what the strengths and the weaknesses were of this essay. I think we covered pretty much everything. There's nothing I really want to go back and look at. So I want to just go on to your task 1 then, okay? Let's do that. This is about the small dog that barks. All right, so you decided to do this formally. It looks really tiny though, Assel, so let me see what you actually wrote. I'm a little concerned about this. As you might know, there's not an official word minimum anymore for your writing, but oh, okay, it's 152 words. All right, you were fine. It just looks really tiny. Okay. All right. There's no we're official minimum anymore to writing. Uh, but if it is 150 words, then there's a very good likelihood that it's going to be underdeveloped in some area. Okay? But let's just look at it and see what you wrote. Dear Sir and Madame. Okay, now get rid of that E. We don't use that really anymore. You could just say Dear Sir or Madam. Dear Sir and Madam, it feels a little strange. Um, you don't know your neighbor's name, I guess, right? Okay. Fine. But I would have preferred dear sir and madam rather than madame. And so no E. I am a nearby resident who works full-time from home. Also, I am pursuing a certificate of certified public accountant. And this course is very comprehensive and difficult to understand. I wake up at 4 a.m. to study before work. Get rid of the and get rid of started, as I have to spend many hours to understand the material. I'm writing to you since the ongoing barking of a dog from your apartment, especially at 10 p.m. when I go to sleep. Okay. I have quite hectic schedule and sleep deprivation threw me out of balance. I would like to ask if anything could be done to reduce the barking as it is affecting my day life. Also, I would like to request you to train your dog. Do not bark at night. You are great neighbors, and I am sure you would understand the situation and would take measures regarding this. Yours sincerely. Okay. So let's talk about this letter a little bit. Um, All right, let's go back to this whole thing about dear sir and madam. Your style was formal, okay? Although it seemed really rather strange to me that you called them dear sir and madam, so you didn't know their name. But then here you say that they're really great neighbors. So that just felt really bizarre to me. I mean, just give them a name, okay? Just call them dear Mr. and Mrs. Smith, dear Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. I don't know, anything, any kind of name you want. But that really would have felt much more logical, okay? Especially since you're neighbors and their dog is annoying. So, you didn't have any paragraphs. Paragraphing in task 1 isn't really important, but if you are aiming for a high score, then it is a good idea to do some good paragraphing here, okay? Also, I didn't really love that you didn't start with the reason for your writing. This is a formal, well, it doesn't have to be a formal letter, but you treated it as a formal letter. It is a letter of complaint, so you're not going to start off, hey, how are you? It should start off, however, with the reason why you are writing. So it should have been, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I am writing you regarding, not since, the ongoing barking of the dog in your apartment, especially at 10 p.m. when I go to sleep. Or, even better, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, I am writing you regarding the ongoing barking of your dog, full stop. The barking goes on day and night, but particularly at 10 p.m. when I go to sleep. Okay, and then you can say, as you may know, I work full-time from home. I am also pursuing my certificate as a certified public accountant, and this course is very comprehensive and difficult to understand. Okay, and then I don't know if you needed to go into all of this. I wake up at 4 a.m., etc., etc. I mean, I don't really know if all that was necessary. What you could have just said is instead, I I would have liked a little more information here about what happens during the day and during the night. So you could have said something like, when I am home all day and you are at work, the dog barks continuously. I cannot focus. I cannot study. I cannot work. However, the problem really gets out of hand at night. I don't know what's wrong with the dog. Please look into it, okay? And then I have quite a hectic schedule, and sleep deprivation has thrown me, THROWN, me out of balance. And then I didn't. You're supposed to also, maybe make some suggestions. So you could say like, I have a friend who is a veterinarian, and he sees problems like this all the time, and I'm sure he would have some suggestions for you, and some training, and maybe visit a dog trainer. So I thought that you could have done a little more here. Okay, all you said is, also, I would like to request you to train your dog do not bark at night. This is grammatically wrong, so let's fix it. Also, I would like to request that you train your dog not to bark at night. Okay? You are great neighbors, and I'm sure you would understand the situation and would take measures regarding this. Okay. I also thought you could have ended this letter with a sign off, like a nice closing. So just something like, thank you very much for seeing to this issue. I am sure we can come to a quick and easy resolution of this problem. So just something to really just kind of wrap it up. I mean, you kind of did that here, but I still think you could have done just something a little clearer to be like, okay, no hard feelings, everything is fine, and let's move on. Okay, so I would have liked that. Now, you ended your letter, yours sincerely. That S should be lowercase. Just so that you know, when you don't know the name of the person you're writing to, we end it yours faithfully. I suggested here, and I continue to suggest, using a name for these people. And so then, in that case, yours sincerely would be appropriate. But make sure that S is lowercase, okay? So, Assel, this is your last set of essays with us. If I remember correctly, you've decided to sign up for more essay corrections, and so that's great. I'm really happy about that. We're going to continue working together so we can continue giving you feedback on your progress and help you continue to improve. So I'll wait for that next set. You'll get the link for your next set of essays in the email from us, and I guess that's it. We'll be waiting for another set of essays from you. Good luck.